All right, thank you very much, Jax. Lots of excitement about E3. We've got tons of stuff coming up. The Ubi press conference will be at the top of the hour with Assassin's Creed, Rainbow Six, and rumors of new Ubisoft game announcements as well. But right now it's time for another exclusive here on YouTube Live at E3, the world premiere of the new trailer for King's Quest, and it has a subtitle now, A Night to Remember. Take a look at this.
Come in, Gwendolyn. I hope this old cap will be remembered for far more than the action tattered across its brim, sewn into the seams of many hidden adventures.
Tell me everything.
Hey, it's Graham the Wise.
When I was a much younger lad.
You look like a compassionate fellow.
Before I was a knight.
Greatest knight in all of Daventry.
Before I'd been to Daventry.
I see braveness in those eyes.
It's a tale about a tournament that changed my life.
Hello. Apologies, I'm late. I should be on the list. First name Graham, last name...
Welcome, everybody. You are all here to win a knight position on King Edward's court. Each knight hopeful will need to bring back to the theatre, dum-dum-dum-dum, one eye of a hideous beast. We want to know what's in your heart, how you think, and how you react in the face of danger. No adorably cute, fuzzy, or tiny creature eyes will be accepted.
Nothing to see here.
Now, everyone, go forth and claim thine eyes.
That was amazing.
All things considered, it was a pretty good first day in Daventry.
All right, we're back here on our set with Matt and Lindsay from The Odd Gentleman. Still have the hat that Roberta Williams gave you at the Game Awards when we announced this game. We saw in the trailer there, surprising to me, that it's coming out in July. So we're a month away now from episode 1.
We're very close, yeah.
That's sooner than I thought.
It's
well, that's
very nerve-wracking. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, you guys have made so much progress with this game since I visited you last fall to look at it. It's cool to hear like Christopher Lloyd in there as Graham doing the voice, and the cinematics and everything coming together. So I know we've got actually some footage now of a demo, so you're going to show us some of the game. Tell us, what are we going to see?
Let's see.
We'll see, exactly. Here we go. Chapter 1, A Night to Remember, and as you mentioned, it's coming out in July. So this is this start of the game, or where?
Yeah, this is actually part of the opening of the game. So we start out by paying tribute to King's Quest 1.
Yep.
And we tell the story about how Graham got the magic mirror, which in the first game is how he became king. So we get to sort of play around with that a little bit in the very start of the game.
Wow, very cool. Now, Lindsay, you guys have been, obviously spending time with Ken and Roberta Williams. They blessed it. It was awesome to have them at Game Awards talking about this. For people that may not be familiar with King's Quest, because we have an affinity for it, but there are lots of people on YouTube probably watching who don't necessarily know King's Quest. What does this franchise mean to you guys? Why is King's Quest so important to you?
I mean, King's Quest was one of the first really story-oriented games any of us played. When you came into this world, it was something that was vibrant and beautiful and had this kind of fantastical lore all created into it. And you explored it using just text in the very first one, which was truly incredible. You're trying to figure out your first interaction, and for me, that happened to be drowning.
Yeah.
I walked right into the moat, drowned, and was trying to type up what I could as fast as I could. I think I was 7.
And you would die a lot.
Yes, died a lot, and had a fun time just exploring anything you could do, and it really paid into the curiosity of the player.
Right.
And that's something we also really wanted to capture in what we did.
Right. And one of the things I think people wondered about this game when you first talked about it, it's it's an adventure game, but there are action elements to it. And people know, like the Telltale games, which are very sort of, very story-driven. Feels like this is a bit more of a hybrid in that there's lots of great story and narrative to it, but you guys are very focused on playability and there is some action to it, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's light action, but the main part of the game is puzzle-oriented stories. We really would look at a moment and try to decide what gameplay would work best for that moment. And that's something that Roberta and Ken sort of shared with us, is when they were making adventure games, it was important to them to tell the story. And using it, you know, it didn't necessarily always have to be a certain type of puzzle or a certain type of mechanic, but what's the best mechanic to tell the story that we're trying to tell.
Wow. Now, this first episode, you guys are building this as an episodic game, but this will come out as sort of a standalone kind of first episode?
Yeah, so Chapter 1, late July, is going to be the first part that tells the story about how King Graham actually became a knight.
Okay.
And then we deal with his whole life frame, so, you know, from a very young squire to a very old man.
Right. Wow, so it looks, I mean, visually it looks incredible. Obviously a lot of voiceover and dialogue throughout it. Tell us about some of the puzzles. I mean, is it sort of typical Sierra where it's like you're collecting inventory items and combining them and things like that?
Yeah, the core of it is, you know, there's a big open map. When the game actually like gets into it, it's a big open map, just like the old King's Quest games.
Yeah.
And you can go wherever you want, and you can solve the puzzles in whatever order you want, and that actually changes the context of the story.
Okay.
And a lot of it is, you know, inventory-style puzzles where you have to use something in combination with something else.
Right.
You know, we're also doing dialogue puzzles and things like that in the game. We got an awesome voice cast that we're super excited
I love
about.
Exactly. That was really an honor to work with those guys.
No, it's cool. Yeah, I mean, Christopher Lloyd and I'm sure other great folks all in there. But yeah, I mean, you should look at the level of the animation and, you know, it feels like an animated movie, but then obviously brought to life with a lot of great Sierra-style puzzles. So, you know, episodic games, people always wonder, like, sort of how long are they? Is this the start or something? It sounds like this is a pretty meaty chunk of game, right?
So the game is about as long as it needs to be.
Right.
Working with Sierra, they've actually been...
It's a cop-out, as long as it needs to be.
Well, working with Sierra, they didn't give us any sort of arbitrary, like, it needs to be this long.
Right.
So it just ended up being actually quite long, especially if you want to compare it to other sort of episodic games. But we had a lot to do in this first chapter. We had to introduce the whole world and all the characters, so it's really hefty. There's a lot of gameplay in it. There's a lot of story. There's a lot of characters.
So obviously, this episode 1, you guys will continue kind of working on future episodes. So this is The Odd Gentleman. Will be very focused on all things King's Quest.
Yeah,
I guess.
We're already on to Chapter 2.
Yep.
So.
Wow, well,
that's
really, really cool to see how far you guys have come with it, and the fact that it's coming out this soon is fantastic. So hopefully, we'll get to see more of it in the weeks ahead as you guys get ready for more of it. Well, thanks for coming by to give us a little sneak peek at King's Quest. End of July, it'll be out on what, Xbox, PlayStation?
A lot of stuff. 360, PS3, PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
Yeah.
Wow, all right.
And actually at the show, and first announced here, we're going to be at the Xbox booth. So if you want to come by, you can come by and check it out.
All right. Well,
and the hat will be there too if you want to try to get a
maybe
picture.
on my head. We'll see.
The hat goes everywhere. All right. Well, thanks very much, Matt and Lindsay from The Odd Gentleman. King's Quest, personal favorite of mine, where I started playing those games back when I was a young kid. So great to see them brought back to life with such authenticity as well. All right.